What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is here. Match preview time. It will be Tottenham versus Leeds on Sunday. And with me, I've got a very special guest from Sky Sports News, somebody I respect very much. He shows his personality on the TV, which is another big plus for me. He'll shave his hair when Gareth Bale signs for Tottenham. And it's Mr. Michael Bridge from Sky Sports News. How you doing, Michael?
I'm very well, thank you. And that's thank you for that lovely introduction. And just apologies to everyone at the moment. I'm currently working away in the dark, so hotel isn't great for brightness. So I'm quite dark. So apologies to everyone, but hopefully you can all hear me clearly.
We can hear you and see you fine. Mr. Tom has chimed in a day before Leeds game. KG going live. It's actually on Sunday, Mr. Tom. So don't get ready for a Leeds game tomorrow. But Michael, I'm here with you here for the Tottenham point of view, and obviously it's been a very mixed season for Spurs. I mean, we get accused of playing open and wide open, things like that. But you've kind of chipped the goals in here and there, 3 here, and have scored 9 goals. Was you for the appointment of Nuno, first of all?
Well, I think the whole summer was a bit of a mess, truth be told. You know, people said he was 9th and 10th choice. I don't really think he was a choice. It was just getting to the stage. It was getting desperate. You know, it was clear that Antonio Conte was who Fabio Paratici wanted, and obviously we'll come on to that later, I'm sure, on Conte. But then I think the fans got used to the thought of Paulo Fonseca joining, which was quite funny in the sense that Spurs sacked Mourinho, Roma sacked Fonseca, and then Spurs bring in Fonseca. I can't say I was overly enamoured with that, but I kind of accepted it. Then all of a sudden that didn't happen. And the Nuno one was a bit of a surprise because he did a good job at Wolves. Let's not forget that. But he kind of left it, they kind of wanted to move on themselves. And I think, I do a lot of work with Crystal Palace, and he was about to join them. And then he had a bit of a U-turn. And I don't think Palace were too happy about the way he conducted that U-turn. So to get the Tottenham job, he must have been pretty like, oh, yeah, well, that's great. I always got the feeling with Nuno that he knew he wasn't there long. And I must say, I interviewed him 7 times, and he was very respectful. Even little things, in life, if someone, he remembered my name every time, and I know that doesn't mean much, but it's a bit of, I think it's respect, and I always appreciated that. So I don't want to be too critical. I just think it was a bad fit for all concerned, and Tottenham did absolutely the right thing. On the face of it, people say, well, you've won 5 and lost 5. That's not that bad. But no shots on target. The football was dire. The Arsenal game, that's the game. You can't let the fans down. That's the rivalry, And Arsenal went into it knowing that. And Tottenham were pretty awful. And I think Jamie Carragher said there's less space on the moon than Tottenham's midfield. So there was no plan. I didn't see any passion from the players. And Tottenham did the right thing to bite the bullet. But saying that, I wish Nuno all the very best. He's a good man, but he just wasn't the right fit for Tottenham.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was for me. It was a weird one because you got rid of Mourinho for being ultra defensive, but then you kind of get his protege, he's not on Mourinho's level in any way, to replace him. It was a weird one, but I think it was that managerial go around that brought him to Nuno. But now you've got Antonio Conte. I'm sure you're very excited. A lot of my Tottenham friends all of a sudden turned Italian. What is that feeling like getting someone like Conte? Because he is one of the best coaches in the world, quite easily as well.
KG, honestly, I mean, he for me is the elite. Like, there's elite managers in the world, and he for me is just an outstanding head coach. And I was absolutely crestfallen when I got a text to say it's not happening. When there were talks going on in the summer, I was so excited. Oh God, he's going to whip this squad into shape, and I was brokenhearted. And I honestly thought the chance had gone. And I'm going to hold my hand up. I got a message on the Sunday to tell me from a good source of mine that Nuno had gone. Yeah, but I didn't, and I'm going to hold my hand up to everyone. I didn't know that Conte was coming in, and I was following my Sky Italia colleague Di Marzio, who is one of the best in the business, if not the best. And he said about Conte talks going well. And and then all of a sudden on the Monday he was flying in, and it's just phenomenal. I was speaking to my friends, in Spurs WhatsApp groups. So many had left. They are texting me now. Can I come back in the group? And everyone's got the buzz back. he's just an elite coach. He's just elite in everything he does. I listened to all of his interviews, his pressers, every word I listen. He's a serious man. He's a serious coach. He's brought some great people with him. And I say, if it doesn't happen at Tottenham under this man, I think we're all going to pack up and go home, Spurs fans, because I think if this guy can't do it, no one can. I mean, look at what he did. A good Chelsea team. It wasn't the best Chelsea team of all time with the likes of Victor Moses. Look at what he did with Ashley Young at Inter Milan. What he did with that Inter Milan side. He broke the mold in Serie A. So he hasn't got a great squad right now, but he knows that. So I'm very intrigued. And people ask me who's going to leave Conte's team, who's going to be in the squad. It's up to all the players just to grab this opportunity. So no one is expendable yet. So it's a wait and see job.
Well, I mean, we'll go into that now because he did kind of say in his press conference today with Højbjerg possibly being out. I don't know if he's definitely out, but he did say that you reckon he'll be okay. Yeah, well, that's a shame, but that it will be between Tanguy and Winks. Now, for me, Winks, if Winks comes in, that's great because I can't really say I rate him very highly, just purely on the fact that every time I've seen him play, all he does is very, very simple stuff. And I know sometimes all you need is that, but there'll be times where players are moving forward, but he'll still pass it sideways.
Like a windscreen one.
Yeah, he's just sideways. It's really, I'm sure it's frustrating for Spurs fans to see that as well. But
I'll take your point. He was phenomenal a couple of years ago for Spurs against Real Madrid. But you can't live on that.
No.
And he's regressed a bit. He's a good player, but I thought in the summer time was best for him to move on for himself. He was an England regular, like Southgate loved him. I liked what he did, but completely regressed. But it's, as you rightly say, it's between Winks and Ndombele. Really interesting quotes from Antonio Conte this morning on Ndombele. He said, look, 3 or 4 managers have tried with Ndombele, so give me some time. It's one of those, on his day, he's one of the most entertaining players around. But unfortunately, on this day, his day is too up and down, and he's still not a lot of games featuring for 90 minutes, and frankly unacceptable for the money they paid. So I could be wrong here. I actually think he might go with Winks. Could be completely wrong. We'll see. But these players have had 2 weeks and what I've called Camp Conte to train with him. And it'll be interesting to see the players he picks for Sunday. Yeah,
I mean, that's a theme, isn't it, with the Tottenham squad, really, in that you've got players like Ndombele, expensive, that hasn't really worked out. Lo Celso is Bergwijn as well. Is it a case now, and I mean, we'll talk about Harry Kane in a bit, but is it a case of a couple of those having a good international break and you hoping that they can translate that into club form? Or have you seen that story way too many times before?
Well, it's interesting you say that. You've made a very good point because Bergwijn scored for Holland. Doherty, I'm told by my Irish Spurs fans, played really well in the games. Ben Davies played brilliant for Wales. Rodon played well for Wales. Kane got 7 goals. It's San Marino, yada, yada, yada. Ronaldo scored against San Marino. So that's goals are goals. Son played well. The only problem was Romero got injured for Argentina.
Yeah.
Oh, KG, this guy is going to be, I promise, mate, he is
good.
He's absolute mustard. And, Bielsa will know all about him. He's a huge loss. We signed him from Atalanta. It's on initial loan, but it's the agreement to buy. It's all done.
Yeah.
But over the last few weeks, Spurs fans have really, they've seen nothing fun, trust me. But this guy, the way he brings the ball out and he's just got it. So he's out. He's 100% out for the game on Sunday.
Yeah.
So there was a few issues going into the game. And I know you guys have got so many injuries, so I won't be moaning too much about it. But that is one phenomenal player we've got there.
Yeah. What would you say though? Does he need to? Should he keep that aggressive energy he's got, or does he need to channel it a bit better?
Who, Romero?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I like that kind of.
Yeah, me too, man.
But he has to channel it. You're absolutely right. Like West Ham away, shouting at Fornals to get up. And there was, I think it was the Peru match for Argentina. Like he shouts in the player's face who missed the penalty.
In all fairness, though, Michael, he was correct with Fornals, because as soon as he shouted at him, he got up. So there's clearly nothing wrong with him. So
and Romero got booked for that. What are you getting booked for? Having an attitude. What's going on? Spurs fans will tell you that Spurs have always had a bit of a soft centre. So to get someone like that, but as you rightly say, he has to channel that. But it's worrying that we're reading reports that it's 7 to 10 days for the next scan. I was told that he was only out for a couple of weeks and he'd be back on December the 9th. But for another scan, a bit worrying. So have to wait and see on that one.
So it'll be back to Dyer and Sanchez.
With Conte, he'll go over back three with two wing backs. So I think he might go Sanchez, Dyer.
Could be Davis.
Davis,
yes. Could be Davis is that third centre back.
I think you're right, because he's left-footed centre back. And actually, there's a guy. Here's an example. Like, not one Spurs fans will say he's great, he's this, he's that. He never played really that much over the last few months, but he's come in and played 90 minutes under Conte. He's a very, he won't do anything flashy, but he won't make too many mistakes. And that actually, you're absolutely right. I think it will be Dyer, Sanchez, and Davis. Possibly Tanganga, because he can do that right central. And then Rodon. Rodon plays more for Wales than he does for Tottenham. And that's a fact.
Yeah.
So, it's not as if Spurs are like down to the bare bones, but Romero is.
He's
key. You've got like a fillet steak, and then you've got we've got a lot of like kind of like rump steaks, but like Romero's the one when you're in Waitrose or Tesco, you're like, come on, treat yourself.
I know the feeling. I get that feeling anytime Rafinha is subbed off the pitch.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's either or of the central defenders.
Just before we go on to Kane, I just want to get a quick word on Dele Alli, because it seems that he's going to get another chance. How are you feeling about that now at this stage of Ali's career?
Well, there's a lot of Spurs fans who actually just want to bite the bullet with him. And at the time, last season with Mourinho, people were just like, oh, this is classic Jose, always picking on someone, Pogba. This time it's Ali. And to be honest with you, I was like, come on, Jose, give Dele a go. Like, Spurs aren't scoring enough. This guy was breaking records, PFA Player of the Year awards. But under Nuno, he just was poor. Everyone was, in fairness, but he was really poor. As I say, for every single player, KG, if you can't get up for Antonio Conte, you might as well go home or go, because
he'll send you home as well.
He will, you're absolutely right. He'll pack the ketchup and he'll pack the player and he'll go home. These guys are, what are you in this business for? You've got short careers. This is we've seen like what Conte does with Inter Milan, and like he's a good like boxing matches with like Martinez. And like John Terry's joined Twitter, hasn't he? He's already tweeted about 4 times about Antonio Conte, calling him boss and hardest working. But like John Terry hates Tottenham, but he's already said, I hate saying this, but Spurs have got a serious manager now. Yeah. So, no one, the door is open for anyone to prove themselves. Winks, Ali, any of them. They just got to grasp that opportunity. The problem Nuno did, the Europa Conference game, Spurs don't want to be in the Europa Conference. Like they've gone from Champions League to Conference League. And I know I'll have Leeds fans saying, oh, what? We'd love to be in Europe. Yeah,
it's relative to the size of your club, though.
Yeah,
so I understand.
But the difference is like where both clubs are. I mean, there's a lot of. Do you know what? The Leeds under O'Leary was very similar to Spurs under Poch. Everyone thought they were amazing, but they didn't win anything in the end.
Yeah.
But that's for another. That's
another story. Yeah. That's a painful story. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's for another day. But I mean, yeah. So anyone has got that opportunity. But the problem Nuno had was he was playing one team in the Premier League and one team in this Europa Conference. So the likes of Winks and Ali are like, also, but they didn't grasp that opportunity. None of them did.
And he made that clear himself as well.
Yeah,
a couple of times.
In hindsight, looking back, having a totally different team for those games is probably the wrong decision. But none of them grasped that opportunity, and they've got to take responsibility. But it'll be really interesting Sunday's game, because he's had 2 weeks under training, and I've heard a couple of whispers that the players just love it. They just have got smiles on their faces, and they've really enjoyed it. So
That's not what I want to hear, but but
well,
also
yeah,
just moving on to somebody that
yeah,
definitely needs a jolt, and I think maybe Conte could be the person to give it him. But
yeah,
you made an impassioned speech on Sky Sports News. I remember it well about not selling Kane for anything less than what he's worth, and you were right. Hindsight being hindsight now with how he's feeling, and you can see in his body language when he's played for you. Let's take the international games out of it because
yeah,
but for Tottenham.
yeah.
You could see when you concede the goal, he didn't look bothered.
No,
He was all over the place as well, except for up front where
yeah,
you would really want him to be.
yeah,
Are you hoping now that he's grasped the Conte thing? Because in all fairness, what you said at the start of the show, if Conte can't get anything with these players, then no one can. We heard that with Mourinho, and he did too. So what are you hoping now that Harry Kane now buckles down, and because he's got to also play himself for a move as well if he still wants to go.
yeah.
So what are you expecting from Harry Kane from here on out?
Goals. I don't think it was as bad as what people made out about his attitude over the last few weeks. The Man United game, he was still running more than anyone. There's no creativity in that Tottenham side whatsoever. When he had Christian Eriksen, they used to sort of work so well together. Now, I'm not saying that Kane is he wasn't on form. I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
But when you get people, and I saw some guy tweet the other week, after the Man United game, I'll just show Spurs should have taken the Kane money. What? Right, here's a fact. Manchester City didn't offer anything near, they didn't even offer over 100 million. So what did Tottenham do? What did Tottenham do? So he's frustrated. We get that.
Yeah.
And I made that passion plea on Sky because I was sick to death of reading articles about Spurs. You should just sell him.
Yeah.
But there's no bids. And at the end of the day, who's to say Tottenham are going to get good replacements? Yes, Harry, you want to go. Yes, he deserved to go. But that doesn't mean I'm going to whack a yellow sticker, go back to the supermarket strategies again, and give it Manchester City, Tottenham's best player, for cheap.
Yeah, this is what happens though, isn't it, Michael? When you're a club, when you're a top player that doesn't play for one of the big four, let's say, they expect you just to accept anything and be happy with it. Take one of their cast-offs to go with whatever money you're going to receive, and just be happy. Let him go to Man City. But that's why I understood where you're coming from with the price.
But also what I will say is that Conte, I doubt very much he'd have come if Harry Kane was not at Tottenham Hotspur.
Nah.
So you look at it now. What if Tottenham start winning games and Kane starts scoring? Hey, the top four, okay, the three, fine. See you later. Yeah. But fourth, I keep hearing from people that Conte wasn't the right fit for Man U. Does Antonio Conte improve Manchester United? Yes. But if Manchester United Football Club don't see Antonio Conte for some reason as a fit for them, great, we'll have him. Yeah. And you know what? We'll try and take fourth.
In all fairness, the main person that said that is probably just protecting his friend. In all fairness, but I don't think Manchester United, much like Arsenal, they don't want a coach like Conte, Mourinho. They don't want somebody that's going to call them out. That's just my opinion from the outside, though.
Well, I was really scared at the start of the season when Arsenal were getting battered every week, and then their fans were like, "Oh, time for Conte." I was like, "No!" And then my mate was like, "Oh, he won't go there. He won't go there." I went, I don't know. So, I'm actually glad they've improved. I mean, I think Arteta's actually doing all right now. But as I go back to it, Tottenham have now got a world-class coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
They employed a new goalkeeping coach 2 days ago. And Wojciech Szczesny, who hates Tottenham, said, "I learned more in 6 months with this guy than 12 years at Arsenal." I mean, these are damning statements from Fabregas and Terry, and these are serious players. So it's exciting. And I'll tell you something about the Spurs fans have been so bored over the last 18 months.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched your games. They've been very, very boring.
Yeah. So they are looking forward to these games, and Leeds is always a special game. I hate the term "back where they belong" with anything. Like sometimes see it with clubs who are like, "Who are you?" Back where we belong. But Leeds are a club, an elite, epic club, and I've enjoyed. It's been great seeing them in the cup games, and your fans when you brought 6,000 down, and then we went to the replay, and they're always special games. You just get the feel of it, like even walking around the stadium, Leeds.
It's got that old school Premier League feel.
Tottenham Leeds, that's two big clubs. Who's bigger? Who cares? Let's not bother about that. Two big clubs, two elite football clubs. So, nothing but good things about Leeds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jack Wilson here is asking still no word on Bamford, and we'll just move into the Leeds team news because we're not going to have Luke Ayling. Junior Firpo is possibly going to be out along with Shackleton. And Patrick Bamford, yet again, isn't fit. Now, for me, Michael, I don't know how, when the old good old Sky sources and everything, but because we're not doing so well this season, because we're not up the table performing like we did last year, I believe now that Patrick Bamford isn't back after yet another international break. He'll possibly be out until the new year. But because we're not doing so well, the club are just keeping it a little hush hush. What's your feeling on that?
Well, that'd be a huge blow for you if so. Bamford has really proved so many people wrong, and I thought he was one of those good Championship players, but maybe not good enough for the Premier League, sort of like Dwight Gale, Cameron Jerome kind of thing. But no, I was wrong about that. He's really impressed. I enjoy listening to him as well. He's such a good listen, He's a good listener.
He's different, isn't he?
Yeah. If people say footballers are boring, footballers are this, no. Like let them be free. Let them say what they want to say. And this guy is a good ambassador, a good advocate. And it's a real plus that he's not around, obviously, on Sunday. I just think, with Leeds, last season were fantastic. And straight away, he had no feel of a club newly promoted whatsoever. It was not just because of the name, but the style of football. It was like, this team is tearing teams to shreds. Maybe there's just that kind of sort of second season.
Oh, no.
But also that kind of respect that clubs have. You're playing Leeds. You've got a tough game today. I mean, hopefully you'll turn it round. But the injuries, when any club, look at Liverpool last season. I mean, how many times did we hear Virgil van Dijk's injured?
We heard it a lot. But who else had a lot of injuries that affected them too that doesn't get mentioned? Leicester City.
Yeah.
But again, because they're not Liverpool, it doesn't get mentioned. But look how many fullbacks they lost. They lost Maddison, Barnes. They went through it. And Justin was flying last season.
Great player, FPL legend.
Yeah.
Man. Injuries are going to kill anyone. Especially with your squad, and Bielsa likes to work with a tight knit with players he trusts. Of course, it's going to be tough. Yeah, but he's such an enigma, isn't he? And he's so good for the Premier League. From a journalist's point of view, I'd love it if he tried English. Because for us, when we were at, I know, because at Sky, he just sits there and it's just like his translator, and anyone editing it, it's not the same.
He's just he can definitely speak English from what I know of people that have met him, but he doesn't want to get anything lost in translation, because as you notice, if his translator doesn't get something wrong right in English, he'll go no, and correct him. So
well, I've got a goodish story from a few years ago. So I went down for Mauricio Pochettino's Southampton press conference, and I remember he got appointed. I was like, who's this guy? And wow, what an impression he made. And this Southampton side was an absolute class. And he did the interview in Spanish. And anyway, he finished the press conference and he was such a gentleman, came around and said hello to everyone. And he went, hello, Sky Sports, London boy, blah, 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 talking about it. I went, hang on, your English is perfect. And I was like, cheers. And he said, look, if I say one wrong thing, I could, it ruins it. But then he joined Tottenham. No, you got to speak English. You and it really helped him. But yeah, I suppose it adds to the enigma of Bielsa, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you speak to Leeds fans, we don't mind that he doesn't speak English. We're used to it now.
Yeah.
But in terms of Bielsa, yeah, I think things are going great. But like you say, the tight knit squad. It's times like this where hopefully, because he's a thinker, hopefully he sees that we might have to adapt that approach come January and get a few bodies in. That's my hope, because I don't want to see him go anywhere. But we do need him to just say, all right, then I'll bend and you get another striker in on loan, whatever it may be, another central midfielder, because that was the problem with our transfer window. It wasn't good enough overall, which is why we're in the position we're in right now. In terms of the game Sunday, how are you feeling about it? How do you see it going?
I think Tottenham will win this one, because I think Spurs, he's had 2 weeks with a lot of the players who went on international duty. They trained today fully, so everyone's back, and I think that extra day will help. Yeah, so I think Spurs will win, but it might not be pretty, because this is not a great Spurs team, but it'll be intriguing. I'm very intrigued to see how Spurs will play under Conte now. It's completely different. I noticed that in his first game against Vitesse Arnhem, there was the second goal was a Conte goal, just everyone playing from the back and then going forward, and then bang, they scored. I think it was the second goal. And Everton, I saw glimpses. So I'm expecting to see a lot of improvement on the likes of Sergio Reguilon, who didn't get in the Spain squad. So he's got that very important role now as the wing back. Emerson Royal from the Brazilian fullback. So yeah, I think Spurs will win, but I don't think it'll be an onslaught at all.
You got a score prediction?
I'll go 2-1. Phillips, the midfield will be important as well, because if Spurs don't have Skip, so if it is Højbjerg and maybe Winks, but Phillips is such a class act, isn't he? The midfield is going to be so important. But I think it'll be a narrow Spurs victory.
Right. I mean, my prediction right now is 1-1. I've had it all week. I just can't shake that one. And it's purely just on the form of Spurs. Our form isn't great either, in all honesty. But it's also from the fact that we can only get a source from goals from Rafinha. That's the main thing. Like, if it's not Rafinha, it's no one else. It literally is nobody else right now. And that's not very helpful. But there's one thing of having a plan for Rafinha, but it's another thing trying to stop him, which is the reason why we've got so many points. Yeah. And also just with the way that Spurs have been playing, and if you do have a couple of players missing in that midfield, especially Højbjerg, I really do hope he's out, because I know he's having a bit of an indifferent season. But again, against the quality of opposition that you'll come across with us, he might have an effective game. And also the other thing I'm hoping is that with Kane being not under Conte's tutelage too much lately, that it may take another week for them to warm up. So I'm going with that hope, and that's why I can see a 1-1. So I'm going with a 1-1 draw. So
yeah.
That's the hope for me. Yeah.
Cool. Brilliant.
But yeah, listen, people. Michael Bridge, if you've got anything to plug, let the people know.
No, not really. Just enjoy the game Sunday, all you Leeds fans, and I wish you well for the rest of the season from 6 p.m. Sunday night.
That is magic. Yeah, listen, people, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching the replay, please leave your score predictions in the comments, like the stream, like the video, and I will see you after the Leeds Spurs game with my